All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's Stadium after training camp practice number 16. Today was Brock Purdy day, man. He was outstanding. 13 of 19 and a touchdown. He had 26 snaps. Had a couple dropped interceptions, one by Hufanga, one by Oliver, but man, Purdy was throwing dimes all day today. You know, among the great passes he threw today, he had a short out route to Dwelley for a touchdown in the red zone that was just absolutely beautiful. Just put it right on his hands. He had a nice out route to Danny Gray that he hit Danny in stride right along the sideline. Threw a deep corner route to Debo, I believe. That was just fantastic. And he had a deep out to Debo that was on the money. He also threw an out route to Conley and once again put it right on his hands. So Brock had a great day. 26 snaps, 13 of 19. And a touchdown. Now, the other quarterbacks did not get very many snaps. Brandon Allen was here today, but he didn't get any snaps. Sam Darnold played 11 snaps. He went 1 of 7. Trey Lance only got 5 snaps, and he went 3 of 3. But all 3 of the passes were just short check down, either running back on a stop route or a little pass to the flat. No passes at all down the field for Trey in today's practice. As far as the other guys who really stood out, I mean, one thing, we still see no Nick Bosa, still holding out, still not here. I kind of look at that as a positive because every day he's not here, it's one less day he's going to be out for the year. Cam Latu sadly had another drop, and it's starting to get to him. Sam Darnold threw him a pass on the sideline in the red zone drill. Dropped it, hit him in the hands. He's showing frustration now. He kicked the pylon. He's obviously really frustrated with his drops. He's had a very difficult time holding on to the football in this camp. Jalen Graham made a really nice play on a run play by Jeremy McNichols. Graham consistently, day after day, showing up. Austin Bryant had a tip pass against Brock Purdy that Braden Willis then caught. So, it was a great play by Austin Bryant to get his hand on the ball, but it was even a greater play by Braden Willis to keep his concentration and catch that pass. So, terrific play by both guys there. Marcelino McCrary-Ball had a good day today. He had a nice stop against a Ty Davis-Price run. Quantrez Knight had a huge hit on Ty Davis-Price around the goal line in the red zone drill. Quantrez throws his body around, man. He is not afraid to hit. Deshaun Jameson, I thought looked really good today. There was in the red zone, he had terrific coverage in the red zone drill on an out route. I think it was to Conley, and Jameson was draped. Maybe it was Ayuk, and he was just draped all over him. Jameson is just, his coverage has been very, very tight. And then Jake Moody also with a couple of field goals. He connected from 35 yards out. He also connected from 45 yards out. Those were the highlights today for sure in practice. As far as, good and bad, I would say today the biggest positive was Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy played incredibly well today. The 13 of 19 doesn't really paint the picture because, every pass that he made today was just on the hands. He really, really looked good and is, clearly working towards, regular season form. I would say overall, the Niner linebackers, D. Winters, Jalen Graham, Fred Warner, Marcelino, they're all playing at a really, really high level. Now, Trey Greenlaw is still not out there. Oren Burks is still dinged up, so those two guys are not out there right now. But man, the linebacking core is consistently making play after play after play after play. I look at the Bosa thing not being here as a major positive. Every day that you put on a uniform as a football player and take the field, there's a chance that you could be out for the year. And the fact that Bosa is still holding out, I look at it as positive. Every day that he's not here, if his job was more complicated or he relied on a lot of other people, it'd be one thing. But edge rusher and a wide 9, get up the field, defense. I'd rather him not show up. To me, the perfect time for him to sign would be like maybe this weekend during the Niners' second preseason game, or maybe Sunday, the day after the preseason game. I'd love to see him here like next Monday, leading into the final week of the preseason. I think that's a perfect amount of time. If you said, what's a perfect amount of time for Nick? I would say that's it right there. Signs Saturday or Sunday, shows up Monday, and practices, leading into the next preseason game. And in that preseason game, he gets a series or 2 series. I think that would be the perfect amount of time. So, I personally am of the belief that deal's probably already been negotiated and probably already done, and that he's just not here because he's not here. I think the Niners are making a strategic decision just to, minimize risk injury with Bosa. So I'm not really that concerned. Now, if it gets to next week, middle of next week, and he's still not here, now my concern level goes up a little bit. I would like him to play a little bit before Pittsburgh and Heinz Field in week 1, but just a little bit, a couple practices, maybe 1 or 2 series in a game in that final preseason game, and that's it. I think that's all he needs. As far as the other major positive today, this camp for the most part, knock on wood, there's been no major injuries in this camp. They're going hard, and yet they're finding a way to, get through all these days relatively unscathed injury-wise. So I thought that was kind of cool that we've gone through a good portion of the training camp thus far, and the Niners are relatively healthy. As far as negatives today, Drake Jackson didn't practice. We didn't see Clea Davis. Eric Armstead sat this one out. Brandon Allen was here today, but he didn't practice. And then, I guess if you want to look at it from a defensive perspective, Talanoa Hufanga had an interception that he dropped. Obviously, you'd like to see him catch that in the future. Isaiah Oliver almost made a brilliant play, picking an interception off the grass on a real low throw, but he dropped it. In an ideal world, you get an opportunity to pick off a pass. You want to make sure you take advantage of that opportunity. So those were the biggest negatives of the day. Probably the funniest line of the day came in the post-practice presser, when Jauan Jennings who's a ball of energy and super positive, but he referred to Brock Purdy as a Brock star. So there you go. According to Jauan Jennings, Brock Purdy is a Brock star. Of course, we're brought to you by Pig in a Pickle. Check them out, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots, from 11 a.m. till 7 p.m. or until they run out. Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Go say hi to Damon, go say hi to Mary, and of course tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. Practice 16 in the books. Hope you enjoyed the instant reaction. Thanks to our sponsor, Pig in a Pickle. Have a great day, everybody.